What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Shinobi Squad Podcast. I'm fan service Renji.
I'm Shana Mostella.
Not gonna lie, guys, I'm kind of feeling down. It's been a rough few days. It's been a rough week. It's supposed to be my birthday week. Just haven't been able to enjoy it. Got some bad news last week. Got some more bad news this week. So let's just get right into it. Yesterday, I find out that my cousin has passed away. As some of y'all know, I'm not very close to a lot of my family, but this was one of the cousins that I actually grew up with. I'm close to this one. Coming back from the store, I get a phone call from my older brother. He never calls me about anything. Automatically, you know something's up. You can hear in his voice the sadness. Hey, what are you doing? I got some bad news for you. Then he just drops it on me. Our cousin has passed away. Of course, this is taking me by surprise. I didn't know what was going on in his life. I didn't know he was sick. I didn't know he had any problems. Comes to find out, my cousin dies because of COVID. He was only 33 years old. Of course, that has your mind frazzled. You keep hearing on the news, COVID only affects old people. My cousin just turned 33. Vaccines started being distributed, at least 2 months ago? Apparently, he got COVID a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
And now he's dead. My brother didn't get into too much detail, but just what he told me just left me heartbroken. He catches COVID. It hits him really hard and fast. He's in the hospital here in town. Then yesterday, they had to airlift him to a bigger hospital the next town over, which by car, that hospital is like 45 minutes away. It got so serious that they had to get a helicopter to fly him over. My cousins, my aunt are flying down a highway to get to the hospital as soon as they can. They don't know what's going to happen to him. They get to the hospital and the doctors already have to induce him in a coma. He can't breathe on his own anymore. He's hooked up to all these machines and nothing's helping him. And then he passes away.
Damn.
Just like that. It just happened so fast. All the family, my brother even, the same brother that caught COVID himself, mind you. All everyone can think is, no, this can't happen. This can't be happening in a small town like this. But it did. My brother, who caught COVID himself a couple months ago, he's still in shock. And I'm just like, why are you shocked? The whole family's just like, well, this isn't stuff that happens in small towns. This is shit straight out of a movie. My brother, though he got COVID himself, I keep saying that just to emphasize the point. He's like, well, if I made it through, my cousin's younger than me. He's going to make it through.
Right.
But he didn't. He had no other underlying health issues. He just got COVID and he died. He just turned 33 in January. I'm over here not knowing how to feel. I just moved back to this state. And apparently this state is doing really bad with new COVID cases. But yet everyone in this town got the same mentality. Oh, it's just a small town. We're fine. Obviously we're not.
Right.
And the weird, scary coincidence from this incident was I woke up that morning reading an article that someone else from this town had shared on my Facebook. It was a Fox or a CNN news article saying 243 people in this state have contracted COVID, even though they're fully vaccinated. All the comments were just in awe. Really? Really? And I was just sitting there shaking my head. People in this city really have no idea what's going on. They really aren't paying attention to the fine print. It says the vaccine helps. It does not fully prevent. It helps you not get COVID. And if you do, your symptoms aren't as bad. And a couple hours later, I get the phone call that my cousin passed away. Luckily, when I got the call, Shana was driving. I was too busy trying to process what I was hearing to be sad at the time. As soon as we got home, Shana asked me, hey, who was that? What did they want? I went from 0 to 100. And when I told her, I just started bawling out of nowhere. I thought I was cool on the phone, but just to hear myself say out loud, my cousin died, just had me choked up. Not too long ago, I was freaking out that my brother was going to die of COVID.
Right.
But now fast forward, here we are. My cousin is actually dead.
As soon as you said your cousin died from COVID, I was just automatically it turned a page for me. It flipped a switch because I recently just got the first dose of the vaccine this past Tuesday. And, I felt very hopeful after that. I'm like, you know what? We're going to be able to travel now. We're going to be able to go to conventions again. Everything's going to open up and be okay. And we're going to all go back to normal. Still have that in the back of my mind. I still have that glimmer of hope. And, it's been a year since COVID happened. And, I've seen people die left and right. I've seen people be affected in harsh ways and no ways at all. And it's just still surreal to this day that people are still dying from COVID, even though there's a vaccine out now, even though there's a glimmer of hope. But when you told me he passed away from COVID, all of those hopes and dreams just immediately went down the toilet.
This would have felt differently if this was April 2020.
Right.
What, a month after the pandemic started here in America?
Mm-hmm.
That would have made more sense.
Right.
Yeah, my cousin would have been 32. You still would have been like, okay, this is a new thing. It makes sense. But we're a year into it, and people are fully vaccinated.
Yeah, and like I said, there's hope going around now. But when your cousin passed away, it's it just brought it all back down to zero. Damn, people are still out there dying, even with this new hope on the horizon, And that just made me just completely cancel all of my plans, even with the vaccine.
Yeah, that's definitely even got me very weary to be at the funeral. In our culture, when someone passes away, it's not as simple as just the wake and then the funeral and you put the body in the ground. It's a whole 7-day long spiritual event. Different days, there's different ceremonies. The community comes out. Monks come from Thailand. Luckily, in this town, they have a temple that monks do rotate in and out, but still, that takes time to arrange, and it's a whole ordeal. All this began as soon as yesterday. As soon as the family got back from the hospital, they didn't even have time to mourn. They started the funeral process right away.
Mm-hmm.
That meant call over the immediate family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we did. We all went over there right away. It was kind of an awkward situation. Shana wanted to be there for support. I'm sure everyone's family members wanted to come with them. But how do you bring extra people when this person died of COVID?
Mm-hmm.
How far does tradition go in this sense? And that's what's been on my mind about this whole funeral.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I have been to one of these Southeast Asian funerals, there's been a lot of people there.
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday was just day one, and that's more of the immediate family. And even that, I felt uncomfortable, not only for myself, but for the family.
Mm-hmm.
They just lost a son, a brother from COVID, and now they have to invite people into their home.
Yeah. Luckily, everyone was wearing masks.
Yeah.
Because it would have been inappropriate to just go there and not wear a mask and not take precautions,
Yeah. Luckily, the family had masks at the front door in case you didn't have one, and they did a great job of enforcing it.
Mm-hmm.
We had brought our own masks there, but I haven't seen my aunt and my uncle in at least 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I only took my mask off to show them my face, to be like, hey, your nephew's here.
Mm-hmm.
But even in that second, my aunt's like, put your damn mask back on.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to show you my face. She's like, I know what you look like. I can see your eyes. I was like, damn, auntie. Like, she was not playing.
Right.
My cousin has an identical twin.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine how hard it is for my aunt to look at the twin brother
Right.
and not see the baby brother.
Mm-hmm.
They're identical twins. I can't even imagine what it's like for the other cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine walking up to the casket and seeing yourself.
Right.
Because when I say they're identical twins, they're identical twins.
Mm-hmm.
The more I deep dive into just all that, it's just, I'm hurting for them now.
Yeah.
Back to the funeral. How do you do something like this and still have it be safe?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's going to be elders in the community who don't understand what's going on.
Right.
A lot of these older Asian people, they don't know what's going on with COVID. Their kids try to tell them the best they can, but some of them don't speak the mother tongue as well as others, so they're not going to understand. You bring the monks in the picture. You get a monk straight out of the temple in Thailand. He's going to be like, what? I live in a mountain. Like, what is this mask stuff? It's overwhelming to think about. I want to be there for them, but yet I'm scared myself. I'm fearful of getting sick myself. What do you do in this kind of situation? As I said earlier, yesterday was only day one. Shana ended up coming with me. This was your first one, wasn't it? Your first time really seeing everything go down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know the concept of what you guys do, but this is the first time seeing it up close and being a part of it. In their culture, technically, the spirit is still around after they pass away. The reason why they have a week-long ceremony is to pretty much like celebrate that person and to help them along their journey. That's from what I understand about it, at least. And what they do is they'll make a shrine of that person. A lot of Asian cultures will do that. They'll make a shrine of somebody who's passed away, and they will honor that person by refreshing like fruits every day in the shrine, or like different kinds of foods. I was just sitting around just waiting for, I guess, more people to show up and then to give support to anyone who came through. And then I saw in the corner they had these tables set up, nothing on it yet. And I saw people bringing like random pieces of food or drinks and things of that nature and putting it on this table. And I didn't realize what was happening because I'm thinking like, okay, this is for the party or it's for the, when people get here. It was random stuff, like they brought in a Subway sandwich, they brought in a tall can of Monster, a chocolate milk, M&Ms, chips, and a big like slushy thing from 7-Eleven or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I wonder who that's for. And then as they're putting it and gathering it in a certain way, it started to click in my head like, oh shit, that's for the shrine. Because then they started bringing out the candle and then the pictures and all that's. But even before they started bringing out the pictures, I knew like, because these were like personal things, like something that somebody would like. And I kind of caught what somebody was talking about. They're like, I always knew he wanted peanut M&Ms, not the plain ones. And I'm like, wait, why would any? Oh shit! I don't care who passed away. Like I'm very sensitive about anyone passing, and I immediately was just choked up. I'm like, I've never even met this person, and like I was immediately just done after that. I'm like, oh no, I need to leave.
Yeah, it was hard to watch. I knew what was going on, but still just watching them lay out every piece of his favorite foods.
Yeah, that hit home. I'm like, damn, he should be here enjoying that shit. Like, he should be enjoying his favorite foods. And that to me was, like, really personal. They hit it right on the head. Like, for me, I was just... I started getting choked up really bad, and I had to just remove myself from the party.
And then to see his picture...
that was the final straw for me.
I was like, this is the first time I've seen his face in years in this picture. And that just hit me like, damn... what kind of a family member am I? Like, I haven't seen this dude in years.
Right.
And I've been back to this city. Even when I lived in California, I would come and see my mom and my brothers, but I never even thought about seeing my cousins. And that just made me feel like shit. Like, this is one of the few first cousins on my dad's side of the family. I came back to the Midwest so I can be closer to family. And I haven't even seen this side of my family since I got back. And I've been here for 3 months. My aunt gave me shit about that, as she should have. She's like, you've been back since when? And you haven't seen me once. She was like, the last time I saw you was when your grandma passed away in Seattle. And that was like 2 years ago. And I was ashamed of myself as a family member. Like, damn, that's so sad. The last time I've seen this family was in another state at another funeral.
Right.
That just really put me in perspective. Moving forward with this funeral, like, I want to be there for my family. Like we said earlier, how do you do all that and still have everyone be safe?
Yeah, and for you, you have a lot more immediate family than I do. I don't have very many people to go see when I go back home to Chicago, and it's different for me because I can put everybody that I personally know that's immediate to me in one place, and then we'll be good for like 2 or 3 years. But with you, I feel bad because you don't really talk about a lot of these people in your family, and it was awkward to, see these people maybe for like the first or second time. I don't know, because
Yeah.
If I did meet these people, it was like years and years and years ago. But you don't really talk about these people either on top of that. And it's just like, I don't know who's really close to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just have like a lot of people in your family.
And there's a reason why I don't talk about a lot of them. It's because I'm not close to any of them.
Mhm.
I've always been the black sheep of the family. And I don't even know 70% of my cousins on my dad's side of the family.
Mhm.
I had to re-meet them in Seattle for my grandma's funeral a couple years ago. I know my mom's side of the family, but it's not like I keep in touch with them either.
Right.
And it just really had me feeling like shit that I don't know my family like that. At the very least, I should at least recognize faces and have names, but it's sad to say that you can show me a picture of my cousins in Seattle and I couldn't name them. I couldn't even do one of those match the name with the faces pictures. I couldn't even do that. Like, that's how bad it is. So my cousin passed away on Thursday.
Mhm.
At the time of this recording, it is Friday. The actual funeral isn't until next Thursday.
Mhm.
Like we said, 7 days before you lay the body down. I'm still waiting for them to tell us when the monks are coming.
Mhm.
That's also a big part of the ceremony.
Mhm.
Also, with that, they need immediate family members to also step up and become monks for the funeral.
Mhm.
I've done this before. You pretty much get initiated as a monk. They'll shave your head, shave off your eyebrows, and then you get sworn in, and the monks take you with them back to the temple
Mhm.
for a couple days. And you live that monk life. And you only get to see the rest of your family during this funeral time when they need the monks to come out. I spent 5 days with monks. That was definitely an interesting, life-changing experience. They would wake you up at 7 in the morning
Mhm.
for morning prayers, and then a family would come and bring you your food. Whatever they brought you, that's all you got to eat.
Mhm.
We had to share pretty much one person's breakfast.
Oh wow.
Imagine splitting a Denny's Grand Slam breakfast. What, 2 eggs, 2 sausages, a couple hash browns?
You're only allowed to bring one thing?
You're at the mercy of whatever they bring you.
Oh, okay.
The host family brought myself and my 3 brothers one breakfast to share.
What?
The other 3 monks got their own breakfast.
Uh-huh.
We had to share one of what they were eating.
What?
We were like the lowly monk peasants.
Oh wow.
But in Buddhist monk life, sometimes they don't even eat.
Mhm.
You go to Thailand or Laos, every day the monks leave the temple and they march down a certain street in the city and they collect food donations.
Mhm.
The local citizens will come out and put food in the monks' baskets.
Mhm.
The equivalent of that in America is a family is assigned to come take care of the monks that month or that week, just whatever you volunteered for.
Right.
You go into your second morning prayers, and that is like an hour-long chant. You thought sitting cross-legged was uncomfortable. Sitting monk style is even worse.
Mhm.
You do those prayers. You get a little break. You do one more long-ass prayer session before lunch. Then the family comes back. Whatever lunch they bring you is all you get.
Mhm.
And then you get no more food for the rest of the day.
Oh wow.
You're not allowed to eat solid foods after lunch.
Mhm.
That is a struggle to not eat for the entire day.
Mhm.
Then you have the rest of the day off until your last prayers of the evening.
Mhm.
And then that's it. Luckily, I was there with my brothers. We were able to find ways to keep ourselves entertained.
Mhm.
But it was the wintertime in Michigan. It's not like you can go outside and like
Right.
walk around. We're just trapped in this temple with these Buddhist monks that don't speak English. Some of them didn't even speak Thai. They spoke like ancient monk language
Mhm.
to where the monks that spoke Thai had to translate what they were saying to us.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was a total nightmare for communication. Because when I said the guy spoke Thai, he spoke like perfect, proper Thai.
Mhm.
For us Americans, it's like when you hear a British person speak English, but British English, and there's some words that aren't the same,
Mhm.
like cookies and biscuits. So we're hearing this guy talk. We're like, what's he saying? I'm looking at my older brother. I'm like, you're from the motherland. You tell him. He's like, I don't know what he's saying. He's speaking that good shit.
You just nod and like walk away.
He's speaking that proper shit. It was weird. It's like, you don't know if you're allowed to joke with them. I'm sure for some of y'all that go to church, you don't be cracking jokes with the pastor. Like, yo, father, I was at the bar last week. Oh, that was this fine ass girl. Like, but one of the monks took a liking to my older brother, noticed that he had tattoos, and he's just like, oh, let me see your tattoos. And he's checking out my brother's tattoos, and he's like, hey, check it out. Lifting up his robes and showing his tattoos. But, it's not like he's got like a skull and 2 guns or something. He got that ancient monk shit.
It's a very ancient form of tattooing. It's when they take a stick with a nail in it, and then like they're tapping the stick with the nail, and that's how you're doing the tattoo. It's very meticulous and it's very painful. More painful than a traditional tattoo. People get it because it's very ancient. It's very close to, I guess, like the monks and everything like that. So it's traditional for them.
Didn't you want to get one with Matt when we were in Thailand?
I did and I didn't because I know how painful it is. Like, imagine, like, okay, a gun that's, like, automatic going. But imagine someone doing that by hand and, like, tapping ever so meticulously and in the same spot on top of that. It's like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah, because our friend that went to Thailand with us, he had showed Shana there was this tattoo place where an actual monk gave you a tattoo, and he really wanted to do it.
I really did, too. Honestly, but like when you think about it, it's like, I don't know.
It was just kind of hard to schedule in because if you get it at the beginning of the trip, you're going to have this fresh tattoo.
And you can't go in the water. You can't go in the ocean after a fresh tattoo.
Yeah. And a lot of our trip involved a rooftop pool, being in the ocean. So you kind of had to make those adult decisions like, well, I can get this awesome monk tattoo, but then I can't enjoy half my trip.
Unless I was trying to get it on my face, which hell no.
Get a Mike Tyson tattoo in Thailand. But yeah, anyways, that monk just was so proud of his tattoos. And he just showed my brother all of these tattoos of just monk Buddhist figures. And we're just like, wow, that's dope. Like, he got that shit in the mountain somewhere.
Right.
With a tiger next to him and just on some shit. And then one of the older monks looked at my brother, noticed he also had scars, and he walked up to him. He's like, hey, what's that hole from? And then he looked at like another scar, and he's just like, oh, something happened here too. This is my triple OG gangster brother, so he's been through some fights and he's been through some rough times. He's also survived living in a third world country. And the elder monk noticed all his battle scars. My brother tells him the stories of his scars. He's like, yeah, I got in a fight and a guy cut me with a knife here. I got stabbed here. I've been shot here. I've been shot here.
Damn.
The monk's like, I knew you were a warrior. He calls over the other monks. He's like, from now on, his nickname is Bulletproof.
A fitting name.
He's a warrior. And he survived all his battles. That's why he's a leader. Bulletproof.
Bulletproof. Bang, bang.
I was like, damn, okay. My older brother thought he was so cool after that. He thought it'd be funny to give everyone else nicknames. After the first night, he had a nickname for me.
Oh, God.
We had to sleep in the same room with the monks.
Oh, God.
For some reason, one of the monks slept next to where I was sleeping, even though he didn't have to. And I was really young at the time, so I didn't know how to react with a monk sleeping next to me. So I just kind of rolled over in the corner without any sheets. And I was just like, I'm good. I'm just going to sleep here in fetal position, curled around. My brother pulls us all aside the next morning. He's like, hey, I got a nickname for him. Did y'all notice how he was sleeping last night? Let's call him Inmate.
Oh, wow.
As in prison inmate. because he said it reminded him of people's first night in jail or prison.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, my brother's been locked up before, so he has seen people spend their first night in jail. You look like a little bitch. You were just curled up in the corner. But my brothers would not let that go for the rest of the time. He's like, hey, inmate, come here. Inmate, come here.
They have to do something to entertain themselves.
Oh, yeah. Good thing you said that because one of the ways we entertained ourselves was so not appropriate. We were dressed up in the monk garment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it didn't take long for someone to be like, this kind of looks like that one kung fu movie. Oh, hell no. You're not going to say that. Yeah, you're right. And then it reminded us of a few kung fu movies involving monks that we used to watch as kids. I can't think of the names right now, but just insert your Saturday morning Shaolin monk kung fu movie, right? During one of our off times, we started mimicking kung fu movies.
Mm-hmm.
The bad accents, the bad lip dubs, and everything. And we were doing like full crane poses, monkey style. Oh, I see you know monkey style. Well, I know dragon grasshopper style. Oh, dragon grasshopper style. I have not seen that form since the 1926s when my ancient master taught me. Oh,
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so we were just doing all the terrible kung fu dubs and poses. Like all of us, all four brothers, just being stupid. One of the monks walked in.
He's like, oh, hell no.
You dishonor the monks. No. He walks in and he's looking at us. He has such a stern face. This was one of the monks that didn't speak any other language than the ancient monk language.
He sees y'all messing around out there.
He's just shaking his head. Then the other monk walks in, looks at one of the poses, because we got caught like mid-pose. Got caught mid-pose. He's like, oh, dragon style, huh?
Oh, my God.
Very good. Thumbs up.
Wow. Like, yeah, we did this our first week, too, so don't even worry about it.
Like, that guy was totally cool. But the other guy that only spoke ancient monk, he was not impressed. But mind you, luckily, one of the guys liked my brother's tattoos, and he was just, oh, dragon style. Very good. You chose great pose.
Oh,
great
my
stance. He's like, I get it. You guys are bored. You're Americans, and this is all you see on TV.
Right.
He's like, it's not the first time I've seen people do this.
Damn.
So like he let us slide, but the other guy was just like,
You like, he didn't get his switch out.
I know. Like he's like, oh, y'all want some Shaolin shit? Let me go out back and find a bamboo switch.
You like, he didn't hire his tiger to come by.
I know. He was gonna get his tigers. Like, oh, y'all want some kung fu? He started doing his real ass Shaolin monk kung fu
Right.
style.
Well, I'll show you some real kung fu, okay?
Yeah.
Get the switch. Doo-doo-doo.
It's not a kung fu movie without one of the masters grabbing his beard and going, oh, crane style.
He about to fly in the sky and kick you in the forehead.
Yeah. And it was such a enlightening moment in my life. I never really asked my brothers how they felt about that. I knew my whole life my dad prepped me. One day you will have to be a monk. Either one of our family members are going to pass away or I'm going to pass away and you have to be a monk for me.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, as a kid, you don't want to hear your dad's going to pass away. But my dad would tell me all the time. I'm talking like once every couple months. One day, I'm going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to be ready for this responsibility.
Right.
You have to become a monk and usher me into the next world.
Mm-hmm.
I was prepared for it. I always thought it was going to be an honor. I guess the closest thing I can compare it to is when like people get baptized or something. It's like a rite of passage for a young man in Southeast Asia.
Mm-hmm.
You either do it by choice, you just dedicate time in your life to go be one with the monks, or a tragedy forces you to do it.
Right.
I have uncles that have done this multiple times. Spiritually, you go be with the monks, but physically, you shave off all your hair, you shave off your eyebrows because to become a monk, you're giving up your identity.
Mm-hmm.
Here in America, you don't get away with not having eyebrows.
Right. Well, except for Jeffree Star, but
Yeah, well, Jeffree Star is
Anyway.
also a vampire, so we don't talk about Jeffree Star. I was truly ready for it, and it was a very enlightening moment in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been times where I've wanted to do it again. There's been times where I've been having really dark moments in my life, for lack of better words, and I just needed that reset button, just to cleanse myself spiritually.
Right.
I was just about to ask you, if you were a boy, could you do it? But then I thought about, you can't even go 6 hours without eating.
I would say because I've been with you so long and I've seen your culture, I think it's very honorable. And I've also been to Thailand. I've been to Japan. I've seen that side of the culture, and I would 100% do it just because when you do go through something like that, when you lose somebody close to you, you want to honor them in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And to do that, you have to give up a part of yourself sometimes. But if I had to, I definitely would, because it's just, in my opinion, one of the best ways you can honor somebody, to give up a part of yourself. Because there's been people in my life that I've lost who gave up certain aspects of their life for me, to raise me. I would 100% do that for them in return.
Yeah.
Even though I like to eat a lot and I would probably be like really hangry all the time. But at the end of the day, like you have to be selfless at some point in time in your life. And I would definitely want to honor somebody that was close to me, or I would love to contribute to that culture in some way.
Yeah, it does take a lot of sacrifice. I can't even imagine seeing my nephew do something like that. He's a kid that was born into Wi-Fi. I don't think you and I have ever seen him without a Wi-Fi device in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
He's either got a phone, 2 phones, because he can't play a game by himself. He has a second phone to make you play with him. He's got a Nintendo Switch. He's always got something in his hand.
Right.
I can't even imagine a kid like that having to deal with a monk.
And it all comes down to their upbringing. Your father, even when you guys were like super young, would tell you all the time, prepare for this, prepare for this, prepare for this. Even if you are so like in this generation, if you were like had an iPhone in your hand, like I feel like your dad is the type of person that would have like just smacked the shit out of you and like instill that culture in you. And that I feel like that's up to the parents to really instill that in your nephews, because if it's not important to them, then it's not going to be important to the kid.
Yeah. Though it may seem morbid to a lot of parents to tell their kid to prepare for their death, it wasn't anything like that for us.
It's the most real thing you can tell your kids, honestly.
Yeah. Now thinking back on it, it kind of felt like when the monks told Aang, one day he will be the Avatar.
Right.
His life will change. Except I didn't run off. I accepted my fate. And I prepared for it. Though my dad's passing was tragic and unexpected, when that moment came for me to, quote unquote, become the Avatar, I was ready for it. And it was a lot of responsibility on my shoulder as a young lad.
And I feel like for, on the surface of things, that's the least that person can do. Like if your mom or father passed away, that's like, as a child of that person, like that's the least you can do, honestly. And unless that kid is, because everyone's different. Even if your nephew's parents told him every single day, like, hey, prepare for this, it would just be up to them to accept that, because not everyone's like that. Not everyone's accepting right away. Yeah. So it would really have to be a tragedy or something, like, God forbid, but like it would really have to be something like that to trigger somebody in that way. Yeah.
Just in that week alone, there was definitely a lot of tradition and a lot of sacrifices that had to be made. It did come with some perks, though. The line of respect that the community gave you was unreal. As I said earlier, we were separated from our family during my dad's funeral. They would only bring us back when it was time for a ceremony. They would send a vehicle to come pick us up from the temple. As soon as we arrived to the ceremony site, we were treated as gods, pretty much. We weren't allowed to touch the ground. Someone would have to come pretty much roll out a carpet for us to walk on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if y'all have seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when those gold people came and they had to roll out the gold carpet
Yeah.
as they walked through the snow.
Mm-hmm.
We also walked through the snow because it was winter at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We could not take a step without someone laying down a piece of carpet, a pillow for us to walk on,
Mm-hmm.
all the way inside the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we got there, they sat us in front of the entire community
Mm-hmm.
that was there. It was weird. It's not like a bunch of the monks were up there with us, the head monk and us, the
Mhm.
4 brothers. Everyone's staring at us, waiting for us to say something. We weren't prepped or given note cards what we were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
We were only supposed to be there to join in prayer with the head monk. He would say something, we'd repeat it. People would then bring their offerings to us in returns for blessings from Buddha.
Mm-hmm.
My brother, Bulletproof, was kind of fiending for cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
He hadn't smoked in days and he was dying. Someone turned to us and they were like, "Oh, great master monks, is there anything we can bring you? Is there anything you need?"
Mm-hmm.
My brother, Bulletproof, actually, I have not smoked in days. Can someone bring me cigarettes?
Oh God.
Some of my aunts and uncles shot a look at my brother like, "You don't do that." Next thing we know, someone snapped. Sorry, I can't snap. Cigarettes. I look over, a guy gets up from prayer pose, runs out the house to get cigarettes.
Oh my God.
I'm like, holy shit, that worked?
Can I get some tequila?
Right? Guy runs out. I look out the window. I see him haul ass in the snow, gets in his car, drives off. 10 minutes later, guy runs up the steps. Cigarettes.
Oh my.
Great master monk.
Wow.
All right, cool.
Bulletproof, like, I can get used to this.
Yeah. My brother looked at the cigarettes. Marlboro. I don't smoke this. New cigarettes. Someone else runs outside, gets cigarettes, comes back. Sorry. Here are some other cigarettes.
Other cigarettes.
My brother looks at it. I only smoke menthols.
Oh my God. Why did he
Snap,
just say that?
Bring him some menthols.
Oh wow.
Someone else runs out, comes back with Newport menthols.
Wow.
Now there's like cartons of cigarettes. They didn't go get packs. They got a carton for each of the 4 brothers
Oh wow.
in different kinds. So 4 brothers, a carton each, 3 different runs. Yeah, we had 12 cartons of cigarettes.
Like, I don't smoke, but I do drink a little Henny, if you want to run back to the store real quick.
Bulletproof was just like, I'll take those. And my other brother smoked too. He's just like, I thought you only smoked menthols. He's like, yeah, but I'll smoke these too.
Since they're here, I
Yeah,
don't want
since
them to
they're
waste.
Because my other brother smoked anything.
Right.
So, but Bulletproof was just collecting all the cigarettes for himself.
Ask them for yourself, man. These are for me.
My uncle looked at us as like, don't ask for anything else. Do not ask for anything else. And someone else was like, is there anything else we can bring you? But then we were just like, no, we're good. And that was surreal. I was like, wow.
Somebody's uncle taking off his shoe real quick, like, if you ask for one more goddamn thing.
I know, but even my uncles couldn't touch us. Nobody could touch us because we were the most important people in the room.
Wow.
They had to treat us like royalty.
Mm.
We were the spiritual leaders of that room. It's like we were part of the Pope's posse.
That's awesome.
They couldn't touch us.
So there's perks to this.
Yeah. And then, so we do the prayers and the ceremony. And then at the end, people come up to us with their money and their offerings. We each have a tree, for lack of better words, right? So people put their money on the tree, and you have to tie this yarn bracelet around their wrists, and you say a prayer, and it gives them a blessing. Yo, Bulletproof was looking at that money like, rubbing his hands together.
Wow.
And then my aunt, she's like, no, you don't get to keep all that money. My brother was like, oh, I don't? They gave this to me. This is my tree.
Tell me what to do one more time.
Yeah. Though we supposed to be spiritual, my brother was still kind of ghetto. He was still kind of ratchet. And not going to lie, I looked at the money like, oh, what you going to do?
But honestly, like, y'all were the ones that had to go through that.
Yeah.
You had to go through a week of being a monk. That should be rightfully yours. So why were they looking at y'all sideways like that?
Because technically, our father passed away.
Exactly.
We were
On
the
top
ones
of that.
that became monks
Exactly.
for my dad's passing.
Mm-hmm.
So all these donations were technically ours.
Mm-hmm.
The right thing to do was to give some back to the temple and the monks. It was in our right to keep all the money.
Right.
And there was easily thousands of dollars there.
Oh, wow.
Because people were bringing up 20s and 50s. Because my dad was a very respectable figure in the community, not only in America, but back in the motherland too. Like he was a very respectable person. His family was respected. So people remember the family name from back then. So people showed up for this funeral. People showed up every day of this funeral. That was only day one of doing that. We had to do that at least 3 more times. And people kept bringing us more money.
Y'all walked away with millions of dollars.
And people kept bringing us more cigarettes too. The cigarette runners didn't even have to ask.
Nobody asked for food?
We would sit in our place and cigarettes would be brought to us. They would sit us down. Oh, cigarettes. I was like, oh, thanks. Well, during that time, since it was the actual ceremony, then we started feasting.
Okay.
They would bring us food and, you guys want more? You guys want more? And we're like, hell yeah.
I'm not going to eat again for another week.
Yeah, they ain't got no food at the temple. So we were just feasting. And then at the end of every day, when the ceremony was done, they had to roll out the carpet again for us to walk back into the cars.
Oh, wow.
Before we were taken back. Then comes the day of the actual funeral. I was sad that the 4 brothers weren't the ones to carry the casket. But in our tradition, that's not our job. Instead, 4 adults carried my dad's body. We had to lead the casket. So what they did was they had to tie this makeshift cloth rope together, right? Because he was blessed and whatnot, and it was wrapped around the casket. So us being the monks, we had to hold the rope and lead the casket to the grave. It was cold as hell outside. Mind you, it was December. We ain't got no drawers on under this robe. So when the wind blew all the way up.
Oh, wow.
And you were just cold. Not trying to like make fun of the funeral, but these are memories I have. I remember it being really cold, no eyebrows, no hair, and we're just standing out in the winter. And I just remember seeing probably every Southeast Asian person in the local West Mission community come out. And it was such a line of respect that I'd never seen before.
Right.
Okay, let's bring it back to the present. All right, let's bring it back to the present. I said all that to say this. There's a lot that goes into a traditional Thai and Lao funeral. That was what I had to do as an immediate family member. That time is about to come back again for my cousin's funeral. I may have to do that again if I'm the chosen one. Don't know yet, so that's to be determined. Once again, my cousin died from COVID at age 33.
I see a lot of you on social media just talking mad shit about the vaccine and about COVID in general and how it's going to like give you powers. And I know like a lot of that is just joking, but a lot of you are out there also saying how, why are you taking something that's making you sick to prevent you from something that wasn't making you sick at all? I saw that meme too, and I almost deleted that person from my social media because I'm like, this is really not a joking matter. And I've never took COVID lightly. There's hopes and dreams, of course. Like I want to go back out into the, public and everything. But at the end of the day, it's still a real thing. And a lot of you out there joking about it and like talking shit about vaccines because you don't believe in medicine and you don't believe in whatever. You're taking away from people who have died, who have gotten more than just loss of smell and taste. And you're making fun of those people. And I look down on all of you guys talking shit about the vaccine because I'm pretty sure Renji's cousin would have loved that vaccine a month ago.
If the vaccine was available to my cousin as early as a month ago, he probably would still be here. But he was unfortunately not on the list.
I've seen a lot of you guys who had the opportunity to get the vaccine, and this is something that I didn't think was actually gonna like be a thing, but it is, and you just pass it up. Like, really? Just because you've heard of people that don't have symptoms, that have maybe like the lesser or minor symptoms, but you forget about the people who actually are affected by this day after day, time after time. You forget about the people who've already died. Why would you pass that up? You don't know how you're going to personally be affected by this. Your twin brother or sister could be affected mildly, but you could be the one. Just like in this scenario, I don't know these people personally, but it just sucks that this twin got the shit end of the stick, basically. And the other twin was basically fine. And it's just stuff like that where you don't think about it. It's so easy to forget that there are people who are affected by COVID, or there's like random side effects, there's random things that happen. You don't know how you're going to be affected at the end of the day. And I just want that to be reiterated again, because it has been over a year since COVID first hit America. And people are just out there just thinking like this is just made up and it's over now because the vaccine's helping people. Okay, but there's people who haven't got the chance to get the vaccine. And with those of you out there making fun of it, you're desensitizing the situation. You really are. You're forgetting about the people who have been affected hard just because you don't know anybody who has ever been affected by COVID yet. God forbid, I would never wish that upon anybody. But you forget about those people that can be affected, and you just go out and la-di-da and like kiki and all that whatever out in public. But the joke's on you at the end of the day when someone you do know is affected, or when you are affected yourself personally. And I want to set the record straight. I'm not talking about the people who chose not to get the vaccine because they would rather have someone else get it before them. People who are essential workers, people who are working in hospitals, people who are like front of the line, like those are the people I'm not talking about. Like, I'm one of those people because I, for the longest time, like, as soon as the vaccine became available in this area, I was like, no, I'm going to let everybody else get it. I wasn't scrambling to get on any kind of list or anything like that. I let a lot of people get it before me because I was not trying to be on that list if it meant somebody who works in a hospital didn't get it.
Yeah, there were times where some of the local places that were distributing vaccines had a walk-in list.
Mm-hmm.
You could just go and get it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, speaking of that goes back to what Shana was saying. Why they did have walk-ins or on-call waiting lists was people that were eligible, essential workers. They would get these appointments made for them from their job sites and not go because COVID's a joke. The vaccine's a joke. They wouldn't show up. So these clinics would have to just throw away their vaccines if they weren't used within a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
That's why they started having all these openings and walk-ins. So many people who were eligible for these vaccines and could get it earlier on, like 2 months ago, because their jobs just chose to brush it off.
Mm-hmm.
They would tell us about how many vaccines were just thrown away because these people didn't show up.
Right.
That's why they started these waiting on-call lists. If this person doesn't show up, someone's got to take this vaccine before it expires and has to go in the trash.
Right.
And it just makes me sick. It's like, you don't want to take it? Fine. But stop disrespecting the people that want it and need it.
That's all I can ever ask for people is to just let this be the one thing that you don't joke about. Let this be the one thing you don't talk shit about. Because people are actually dying. People are actually losing their lives over this. And these are people who are young. These are people who are older. These are people, all walks of life. People who have never had anything wrong with them all their lives are dying from this virus. And it's just a very unfortunate thing.
We can go on forever about COVID, the vaccine, and people's negligence or people's ignorance to whatever's going on, but we got to wrap it up. Actually, as we speak, my family is blowing me up right now to be at my aunt's house for day 2 of this funeral. I had texted them earlier to ask, do we need to be there by a certain time? And nobody said anything, but they're saying something now. I mean, I don't blame them. You know, it's a family tragedy and things happen when they happen because you don't know when monks are available. So
especially in this time with COVID and they don't know what's going on.
Too. So let's just wrap it up. COVID is still a serious thing. Please do not take it lightly. If you don't care about yourself, cool. Get sick, learn your lesson, whatever. If you're going to do that, then go all the way. If you want to be sick, unvaccinated, then let everyone know that you just out here being dirty and nasty so people can avoid you. Don't go to your stores with no mask on and just infect the rest of us. If you get the opportunity to take the vaccine and you really don't believe in vaccines, which is fine, that's your choice, but don't make the appointment. Let the clinic, let your job know, hey, I'm not going to take it, so they can let someone else have it. So they can schedule someone else in advance so these vaccines aren't just going in the trash for no reason. There's people out there that want it. You may not think they work, but obviously there's people out there that think they work.
Right.
For those of you who are just like, why get a vaccine if you never got sick? Why have car insurance if you never got in a car accident?
Exactly.
Why take care of your body if you've never been hurt or sick? Why brush your teeth if you never had cavities? It's like a vicious cycle. You brush your teeth so you don't get cavities. Anyways, these examples can go on forever because now I'm feeling kind of heated about it. So whatever is going on out there, whether you want to call it COVID, whether you want to say it's just another form of a flu, people are dying. It's bad enough that my cousin, who just turned 33, died yesterday. My brother almost died a couple months ago. His symptoms were severe. Shana's dad was in the hospital himself a couple months ago. He almost died. There's something out there that's killing the people we care and love. At the very least, take it seriously. They got some super COVID, and that COVID strand wears a suit and it has a Gundam mech and it's just destroying people's immune systems. So there's lots of shit happening around the world, whether you want to acknowledge it as COVID, there's some nasty shit happening and people are getting sick and people are dying. At the end of the day, that's all you need to know.
Hell, I just had a cousin only a couple months ago, my immediate family. That person got sick from COVID as well and thankfully was just completely rid of it after a while. And I'm thankful for that.
Totally forgot about Shauna's cousin just had COVID.
The little brother, not Eric. Eric's little brother, Justin. Eric and Justin, they're my brothers, but they're my cousins. That person got sick too, and it was bad for him, and he doesn't get sick. I can go into a whole thing about that, but again, we got to hurry up because someone who just passed away needs our spiritual attention right now.
Yeah, so funeral day 2 is taking place right now. So appreciate you guys for being here. I know it's a very dark and depressing topic, but y'all know we gotta speak what's on our mind, and I have nothing but the love for my cousin right now in my heart. And God, I'm choking up right now.
Pull it together, man.
And yo, just life is short, y'all. Just make sure y'all hug the people you love and just be there for each other. All right, guys. Oh, my God.
Man, this hit hard, honestly. Like, this has been
I know
hard for everybody. And honestly, just this has become a refreshment with everything that's happening right now. And it's so real.
I thought I was going to be able to hold back these tears through this podcast. But now that it's ending, and I just feel that my cousin deserves more time and more justice than this podcast. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Shinobi Squad Podcast. I'm Fan Service Renji.
I'm Shana Mostella.
Take care of each other.
Thank you, guys.